Hi, it's good afternoon and not good evening, is it? I think Curtis already introduced me. I haven't heard because we were in the kitchen. Wanted to welcome you from us, and my husband will be out in a minute. We do a lot of our cooking together. I'll just give a brief intro. Oops, that has to stay right there. Do you know where the end is at? I need the cord.
It's
yeah.
over two.
Okay. Yes, it's on this. A few years back in 2008, although we'd been working at it for a while, Arlan ran into some cardiac issues. Actually, they started in 2006, I guess, it doesn't matter. Anyway, and he wound up in 2008 having a 3-vessel bypass, a cabbage. And he realized at that point, I should be letting you tell this part.
Yep. It's interesting every time you tell it because it's different.
The facts all remain the same. Anyway, after surgery, he vowed they'd never do it to him again. He would die before they ever touched him again like that. And he knew about 6 months down the road, if he didn't change something, he would be back in 5 to 10 years under that knife again or dead. And so he joined a gym. He worked for the University of Denver at that time. And of course, things were, when you're an employee, things are kind of relatively free. Joined the gym, and I didn't want to be left out, so he came home and we would walk in the afternoon. But I hurt so bad that I made sure everywhere we walked that he could come and get me in the car if I couldn't get back. And I should preface, I weighed 100 pounds more than what you're seeing now. And you weighed 80-some pounds, isn't it? 85? And so to start this journey, it was very hard for me because from here down did not feel good. And we started it. We then, when the weather turned bad, we lived in just north of Denver. The weather turned bad, we joined a gym and he got a trainer. We went 6 days a week for an hour and a half. We got fit, in a sense, because we used to hike a lot, and we had to stop because of, when you're carrying an extra 100 pounds, that's like 2 full backpacking, spending the night on the trail for a week load on you that you're just trying to haul up a hill. Anyway, we did the gym, and we lost each 12 pounds after 6 months, and the lab work didn't change. And I'm leaving out part of the journey. Anyway, one night, it was right before Thanksgiving, we were watching a program on a channel called 3ABN, and a man was on there, Hans Deal, and he had a guest, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. And Arlan tuned in, and I want you to know at this point we were vegetarian and we considered ourselves vegan, but we really weren't, because when we went out to eat, we weren't vegan. But we thought we were doing pretty well. I don't know how you have that concept when you keep getting bigger, but anyway, we did. And he listened to Esselstyn. Do you want to take over?
Yeah, I still recall what he said. His opening remarks were that coronary artery disease is an absolute paper tiger that need not exist, and if it does exist, it need not progress. Well, that got my attention. So obviously watched the rest of the program. I kept waiting for the next shoe to drop. Buy my program, buy my pills, buy, whatever. But it never came. And what came was what really matters when
No,
it comes to
they were
your
from
cardiac
Idaho.
health is what you put on the end of your fork.
Okay.
And you may have heard of the documentary Forks Over Knives that came down the road a little ways after that, but that was kind of the genesis of that. And so he he has a book out. He had a book out at that time, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. So about the book, read the book. It's a quick read. And I had some questions that I told Fran, I'm going to call Dr. Esselstyn, and I have these questions still. And she said, good luck with that. I can't even get my own doctor to call me back, right? So, yeah. So I phoned and I got his assistant and explained to her what the story was. And she said, oh, well, I'm sure Dr. Esselstyn would be glad to speak with you. He doesn't do email and so forth, so give me your phone number and I'll have him call you. So I did, and about 20 minutes later, the phone rang. And it was Dr. Esselstyn. And we talked for about 90 minutes. And he answered all my questions to my satisfaction. And so hung up, told Fran, just before Thanksgiving dinner.
No, it was right after Thanksgiving.
Was it really?
Right
Yeah.
between Christmas and Thanksgiving.
That we're going to go down this road. Because obviously the gym, while it made us healthier, it didn't solve any of the problems that we were having. So I'll let her take it from there.
So we had traditional vegetarian Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I really liked white, creamy food. And anyway, we read the book. And I thought, this is like death. And you can do anything for 2 weeks, right? Even 6 weeks, I could pull it off. So he had just had lab work, just before we did this. And we went on it. And I set out to disprove everything that I could. But in 10 days, was it 10 days, 14 days, the lab work came back, and you went from 194 total cholesterol to 117 in 10 days, because the body's wired amazingly. When we feed it correctly, within 3 days of a lifestyle change, it starts healing itself. And I couldn't argue anymore. Was I gracious and excited? No. Life had ended. Life was over. Christmas dinner, who even knows what it was? It was just a blob. But after that, I couldn't argue, and I decided I better buck up and get on board. And that's what I did. And that was back in 2009. And we've never looked back. Our life came back. We were hiking miles and miles. Our daily walk used to be 5.5 miles on a thing called Devil's Backbone. And that should let you know, rattlesnakes and rocks and everything. And we did it. And people will say, but look what you gave up. And Arlan always says, well, this, but now I get to enjoy my grandkids. Life came back. And that's what we're hoping to introduce you to. And if we act a little excited about it, it's because we are, because of what has happened in our own lives. So what you're going to taste today is a dish that we like a lot. It's called vegetable penne, and we'll be handing out the recipes in a moment. What it is, right now I'm sauteing onion and 2 cloves of garlic, diced sun-dried tomatoes that are not in oil. They're just, I should have brought the bag out. You can find them in the produce section. And then I've put in a teaspoon of thyme, just dried thyme. And let it kind of just, pardon? Dried thyme, or thyme, however you say it. And then it is a 1/4 cup of fresh basil, chopped. And yeah, I'm just wondering if you want to take over, and I'll just let this go. And so this is 4 cups of spinach that I'm just going to turn the temperature down and let wilt a bit while he takes over with his part of the recipe. And in actuality, this is really how we cook it. He makes the sauce and I do the other part. We have the luxury, he works from home, and so we cook the majority of our meals together. Yeah.
Keeps us honest.
Yeah.
So I'm letting the pressure bleed off on the Instant Pot. Everybody generally familiar with the Instant Pot? Pressure cooker, right? It's just electric pressure cooker instead of on top of the stove pressure cooker. And it takes a little bit to bleed off. We typically cook a good-sized head of cauliflower about 20 minutes in the Instant Pot. That's about right for us when it comes to how much sauce it makes, and it's what the recipe is also pointing out. So we'll let it do that. As soon as this little button goes down, it's safe to open the lid. Or if you're adventurous, I can open it now. There we go. So the problem at this point is you've got this huge head of cauliflower. If you try to pick it up out of there in any way, it just likes to fall apart. That's the voice of experience speaking. So what I typically do is get a couple of great big serving spoons, and I cut it in half first with the spoon. And then I cut each of those halves in half, so we have quarters. The quarters kind of a cauliflower head will sort of hang together. And into the blender. I don't know about you, but I'm not a fan of the smell of cauliflower. All right. So you kind of stuff it down in there because this is a thick sauce. She tells me it's bechamel. I always thought it was Becher-Campbell, so I call it Becher-Campbell. So a teaspoon and a half of salt goes in there. 3 to 4 tablespoons of plant-based milk. We use soy milk or almond milk. This is almond milk. And 3 to 4, sometimes depending on the head of cauliflower that you've got, it may take only 3, but it is a very thick sauce. So this is half a cup.
Is it half a cup?
Half a cup to a quarter cup.
Is a quarter cup of nutritional?
Quarter cup of nutritional yeast flakes in there, and a teaspoon of seasoning. This is a chicken-like seasoning. It also usually takes...
it's a Vegetarian Express pepper-like seasoning.
Yeah, it's not really pepper, but it has a peppery flavor to it, peppery taste, and we like it, but we forgot it. So.
Thank you.
When I mean we, I mean you.
Yeah, I know.
So one thing you never do is this.
Watch what you're doing.
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah.
Once you stir it around a bit, it will start spinning and it will start getting into a sauce. Can you hear me at all, or do you just hear the blender? You can hear me? I'm sorry. So we let it go on high for a bit. It will get very smooth. Sometimes if you get an older head of cauliflower, it will be a little bit bitter. The opposite of bitter is sweet, so we'll put either a little bit of honey in it or sometimes a little bit of maple syrup, just very little. Doesn't take much to cut the bitter flavor.
I was just going to tell you, if you do that, that's what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
You want to see that again? I'll start it up full speed. without the lid on. Oh, it's still going.
Okay, I'm ready. So these are a brown rice pasta that we always use. And we are not gluten-free at our house at this time, but I'm not excited. I don't like the taste of 100% whole wheat noodles. And you get a whole grain with the brown rice. They also have at Costco right now, and I've seen it at, I think, Rosar's. It's by a company called Bonanza, and it's a chickpea gluten-free noodle.
Bonza.
Is it Bonza?
Bonza.
Okay. Anyway, those are really nice. They're my favorite noodle. So, did you want that?
Yeah, I'll take that tray.
Oh, the tray. Okay, I think they're going to serve you right now. What you have on your tray, or on your plate, you'll have vegetable penne. You will have a salad that's with a raspberry vinaigrette on it. And we gave you a treat, Lorene did. They're maple sugared pecans. And they're kind of fun at holiday time to have. You'll also have carrots, steamed carrots with a dash of lemon peel, and trying to think what else is on that. And also a gluten-free bread. And beside their slice of gluten-free bread, there'll be a little dollop. And what that little dollop is oven roasted garlic. So you can put it on if you want to. If you don't like garlic, then don't spread it on. At our house, it goes pretty fast. And if you have Curtis over and you have roasted garlic, just make a whole lot, right, Curtis? Okay, do you have any questions before we head off and get your food? You can, if you have a nice hot pan, and one of the tricks is to have your pan nice and hot, and then have your food at room temperature that you're going to fry. And you can fry it that way. You can stir fry. You can fry your onions that way. And you don't have to use any extra free fat in them that way. So it really reduces the calories. And they turn out very nice. In fact, you can even do onion rings. You know how you like them caramelized? Do that. Get your pan hot. Put your onion slices in. Let them start to brown. And then add a tablespoon of water. Let that, and stir it. Let that go again. When it starts to brown and that water starts to be evaporated, add a little bit more, and you get all that glazing then without all the oil. And like the pecans that you're having, they are done without any butter. You don't need butter to get a glazed nut. Any other questions? Thank you for asking that. Okay?